Trebezius, 1 minute, please.
A wave of migrants is flooding Europe. Germany alone is expecting 1.5 million migrants this year. This smashes all records to date. The situation has got completely out of control. At the JHA and summit meetings recently, we talked about quotas of 160,000 for Europe as a whole. What type of figures will we be discussing next week, next month? Mrs. Merkel has lost all grasp on reality. The municipalities cannot deal with the burden. The volunteers are seeing their limits reached. We can't just hand out balloons. We need to close down borders and send out a clear message to migrants that Europe cannot take in all comers. Most refugees need to go to regions managed by the UNHCR. We need to boost funding for the UNHCR. We need to make it clear that refugees are safe there and that they don't have a right to travel on to Europe.
Onorevole Trebezius.
Ulrika Trebezius, there's a question to you. Yakonsari.
You talked about natural forces, waves, and so I think we are talking about people, human beings, and I think we should thank Mrs. Merkel for owning this. They actually try to understand the situation and deal with it. They try to organize jobs, bank cards, and try to find apartments. Thank you.
Prego, la risposta, scusi.
Sorry, reply to that, yes. For Trebezius.
You say that we should be grateful to Mrs. Merkel, but Mrs. Merkel should perhaps have discussed the matter with her citizens first. Of all, she never asked Germans whether they agreed with her position, and I think that that's something that needs to be tackled.
Onorevole Sully.
In summer, we calculate we have about 800,000 refugees. It's now, current calculation, 1.5 million. Now, if you subtract one from the other, it's all due, that difference, to Angela Merkel and her very destructive policies. She just set aside Dublin and has infringed the German Grundgesetz, the basic law. Most of the people who come are economic migrants. They are not fleeing from war, and they go through 4 or 5 safe countries. And if you do that, you're not fleeing from a war. It's an absolutely illusory to believe that these migrants are going to actually contribute to German pensions. And the German minimum wage is far too big a barrier for that. And what about allowances, social allowances? Mrs. Merkel forgot who elected her and who she should be protecting. It's time to wake up and stop this invasion. Australia really gives us a lesson.
Ulrika, un minuto.
I'm surprised that Mr. Erdogan is being brought on board as a hero and his downsides are ignored, the Kurds and abusing journalists, etc. You, Mr. Tusk, as President, we need to see you call on heads of state and government to have courage, not fear, to go against hate speak, regardless if they're from CSU, Fidesz, SPÖ or the Freedom Party.